What shape is this? Triangle. And what is the formula for a triangle, Caden? A equals BH divided by 2. Perfect. All right, so something you might not realize is that a trapezoid comes from this shape. A trapezoid is developed from a triangle. So it should make sense, just like we saw yesterday, parallelograms are related to triangles. Parallelogram is BH. For a triangle, you do BH but divide by 2. Today we're going to still see my BH divide by 2, but it's going to look a little bit different because today we're going to talk about a trapezoid, okay? The way that that works, right now it's a triangle. I think we can all agree with that. If I cut this, I'm just going to cut that top part of the triangle off. There we go. I cut that top part off. Now what is it? A trapezoid. Now, obviously it's not perfect because my cutting job isn't perfect, but now it's a trapezoid. All right? So I took the top part of my triangle off and I made a trapezoid. Now by cutting that top part off, do you realize that I made another flat surface? Okay. So what that has essentially done is before this was my base, correct? What this has done is now that we have this flat part on top, we have another base. All right? Now, guys, can I just have like a B and a B floating around? How would I know which one's which? So we're just going to label them. One of them is going to be a B1, which means you just put a little bitty 1 at the bottom. That's called a subscript. And the other one will be B2. We're still going to take those bases. We're still going to multiply the height. We're still going to divide by 2. All right, are there any questions on how I made that a trapezoid? All right, you might be like, okay, what is this B1, B2? We're fixing to write the formula, and then I think it'll make a little bit of sense, okay? Are we good with that example? Where a trapezoid comes from. Cool. All right, so now, guys, let's move into our notes, which are number 5. And we're going to write the formula for that trapezoid we just saw. All right, that trapezoid we just saw, the formula is going to be A equals. Remember how we said we had 2 bases this time? I'm going to take those bases and I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to write base 1 plus base 2. That's the only thing that's going to change. I'm going to add my bases together. I'm still going to multiply times the height, so that's still like base times height. And then just like on the triangle, we're still going to divide by 2. Okay? I find that if you understand where those formulas come from, they're a little bit easier to remember. All right? Are there any questions on why I'm having those 2 bases? Are we okay with that? Flat parts. Okay. So here's what I want you to remember when we're talking about trapezoids. Your bases are the 2 flat parts. Now, guys, these 2 flat parts, they could have been facing like here where it's the bottom and the top. My 2 flat parts, my trapezoid, remember, it can sometimes be turned on its side, can't it? So then my bases would be on the side. What do you notice is always going to be true, though, about those bases? Anyone notice anything? Braden? There's 2 of them. What else do we notice? Malachi? They cannot be the height. The height's going to be something different. Lauren? I'm sorry? There's not a right angle with the bases. Gabe?
They're always parallel.
They're always parallel. Excellent job. So like here I see my bases are both going up and down. Here I can see my bases are both going straight across. All right? What if it was like crooked? They're still going in the same direction, right? Your bases have to be parallel on trapezoids, okay? So we're going to look at number 1. We're going to do an example, just like every other example. Step 1 is write the formula. So we're going to write A equals my bases added together, so base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So A equals. All right, based on what we just said, especially what Gabe said about your bases having to be parallel, on number 1, raise your hand if you think you can tell me what are my 2 bases going to be. Eli?
11 and 7.
11, and not the 7 going up and down, but the 7 on the bottom, because my 11 is going straight across, and my 7 is going straight across. Do we see how those match? Okay, so we're going to do 11 plus 7. And then what's my height going to be here? What is my height, Gabe?
7.
It's 7 as well, but it's going to be the other 7. How did you know that this was going to be my height?
Because you can tell that it's going up and down.
It's going up and down. What's another reason it's my height? Savannah? It has a right angle. And we always say our bases and our heights are going to make right angles. Look, do y'all see how it makes a right angle with the top line? I mean, obviously we circled that. Does it also make a right angle with the bottom line? Yeah, so your height will make right angles with both of them, all right? So yes, 7 is going to be the height. Excellent job, Savannah. And then we're going to divide by 2. All right, y'all, do y'all realize we got a lot more numbers going on here, don't we? So guys, y'all are going to have an extra step here that you're going to do. You can use your calculator. We should be able to do this one in our head. Do y'all see the bases where we're adding them together? I want you can use your calculator, but I want you to write down the number you get when you add them. So when I add them, what is 11 plus 7 going to give me? Hayden? 18. So in parentheses here, I'm going to put 18. I'm still going to put the 7 next to it, and I'm still going to do divided by 2. All right? And the reason that I'm telling you to do it this way is this is going to help your calculator. Because, guys, this calculator is only as smart as what you put in it. And if you put stuff in it in the wrong way, it's going to give you the wrong answer. So I want to show you something real quick. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to watch. Okay? If I type in 11, see, if I type in 11 plus 7 times 7, isn't that what that said right there? If I type that in, it gives me the answer of 60. It gives me 60. All right? Now, what did I really need to type in? 18 times 7, right? If typing that in just straight across worked, that would be great. But when I type in 18 times 7, what do I actually get? 126. So that's why I want you to add it first, because you know adding comes first. Your calculator doesn't. So you're going to do that addition first, then write our answer, and now we're ready to plug it in. Malachi? No, but I want to see what you get when you add it together on your paper. Okay? Just to make sure we're doing that in the correct order. All right? Gabe. Oh, you have the answer. All right, Gabe, what did we get for our answer? So we got 126. Now you got to divide by 2. What do we get?
63.
63 what?
Feet squared.
Feet squared. Excellent job. All right, questions about that? All right, we're going to do number 2. A equals, by bases added together, so base 1 and base 2, times the height divided by 2. Okay. What are my bases on number 2 going to be? Gabe? 7.5 plus 5. Excellent job. Because those two, not just because they're top and bottom, but because they are parallel. They're going the same direction. What's going to be my height on number 2? Layla? 6. And then we have to divide by 2. All right, and I'm just going to draw an arrow going to the next line so I can continue my work. A equals. What's my next step going to look like? If I'm following the order that Miss Sawyer says I have to, what's that next step, Eli?
7.5 plus 5.
And what do we get there? 12.5, because my 7 and 5 are whole numbers. 7 plus 5 is 12, and then we keep that 0.5 there. So I get 12.5 times 6 plus divided by 2. And all we did was we did that addition. Now I'm ready to type that into my calculator. So 12.5 times 6, find that answer, push enter, and then hit divide by 2. And what do we get as our answer on number 2? Caden?
37.5.
37.5 what?
Inches squared.
Inches squared. All right. Guys, you can tell a lot of these are really easy. We're going to skip down to number 5. A equals, so I'm on number 5 now. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. We're skipping all the way down to number 5. And I'm going to move it down. Sorry, I'm skipping all the way down to number 5. And there's where I wrote my formula just now. All right. Guys, I've had a lot of people see number 6 and say, oh, look, it's a rectangle that snuck in. How do I know number 6 is not a rectangle? Hayden?
Because it has 2 parallel sides.
Rectangles, top and bottom are parallel, and the sides are parallel. Sasha?
The top and bottom don't have the same number.
The top and bottom don't match. On a rectangle, do my top and bottom have to match? They don't match. That's what makes us a trapezoid, even though it looks a lot like a rectangle, okay? So just be careful on problems like number 6. All right. Number 5, going back to that one, area equals. We got 4 numbers here, so let's see if we can pick correctly. What are my bases for number 5? Michael? 9 plus 4. And what is my height for number 5 going to be? Malachi? 3.5. How did you know not to use the 5? Because it's slanted. Remember, that's like me leaning against the wall to find my height. We don't want to do that. Divided by 2. Draw my arrow to keep going. A equals. What am I going to get for my next step? Next step, Gabe?
You get 13 times 3 1/2.
Don't forget, divided by
2.
All right, so we added the 9 plus 4 and got 13. Now I can type in 13 times 3.5, enter, and then divided by 2. Remember, on our calculator, 13 times 3, hit that fraction button, that's the ABC, 1, fraction button, and 2. That gives me that 45.5, but we still have to hit divide by 2 and push enter again, and we get 22 and 3/4 yards squared. Please make sure, guys, if you do not get that in your calculator, let's look at it because you're typing in your fraction wrong maybe. And I want to make sure we know how to do those fractions. Okay. All right, guys, so we already talked about number 6 and why it's not a rectangle because those two do not match. But those two are also going to be my bases because the other one's making the right angle, so 7 will be my height. I want us to skip down. We're going to look at number 7. We're going to look at number 7 to finish up our notes today. Did you hear that? We're going to finish our notes today. Woo-hoo. Sorry. I'm excited. First time this week, right? All right. We're going to find the area of the figure, and it is formed. It tells me right here it's formed by 2 congruent trapezoids. So we see the 2 trapezoids. What does the word congruent mean? What does that mean, Juliana? The same or equal. Congruent means the same or that they're equal. All right? So if I'm looking at these trapezoids and I know they're the same, do I need to find the area of both of them? No, I can really just find the area of one of them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to label this is trapezoid 1 and this is trapezoid 2. Are y'all okay with that? All right, and I'm going to come over here to the side where I have a little bit more space. And I'm just going to worry about the area of trapezoid 1. All right, and my formula says A equals my bases, base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. What are the 2 bases on the trapezoid 1? What are my 2 bases on trapezoid 1? Caden? 9 plus 3. And what is my height going to be? This one's a little bit tricky. What is my height going to be on trapezoid 1? Sasha? 4. But this says 8, Sasha. So why is that trapezoid only 4 meters high? And remember, we only want to cut this in half, right? If 8 is the whole thing, that leaves 4 for the top and 4 for the bottom. So we're going to be, my height now is actually 4 divided by 2. So area equals. What am I going to do next? Julia? Which gives me 12. And then times 4 divided by 2. So area equals. What is my area for the top one going to be? Katie? 24 meters squared. So my top rectangle is 24 meters squared. Since they're equal, what is my bottom trapezoid? I'm sorry, I think I said rectangle. What is my bottom trapezoid going to be? Eli?
24
Plus 24 more meters squared. If I'm adding 24 and 24, what do I get as my answer here? Okay. 48 meters squared. What if they were not congruent? What if I found trapezoid 1, but they were not congruent? What would I have to do next? Hayden?
You would add 24 meters
plus whatever. Since they were equal, I knew they were the same, but if they weren't equal, I would have to work this one out as well before adding them together. All right, are there any questions on number 7? All right, your homework, we already wrote that down in our table of contents. All right, if you want to get a piece of paper out, I'm going to project up here those first few problems. There's 5 through 10. So we can actually start on our homework today, which is exciting. We haven't done that all week. Real quick, guys, and I should have mentioned this before, and I just now thought about it. If I had a trapezoid that looked like this, and my numbers said, I don't know, we'll do 10 inches, 7 inches, 6 inches, and 8 inches. Which of those two numbers would be my bases? Which would be my bases, Gabe? 10 and what's my other base?
6.
What are my two bases going to be here? Aiden?
10
10
and 7.
and 7. So guys, these bases, you'll notice they're going up and down. So these would be my bases. This would be like base 1 and base 2. Which number would be my height? Camilla? The 6 inches would be my height. Because sometimes they can be turned on their side. And looking at your homework, I noticed y'all didn't have any like that, so I wanted to show you, okay? All right, there's your homework. I'm sorry. Y'all can keep going. Some of y'all are getting started. I think I got something written on mine.